Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live session here from AutoCrit. AutoCrit, of course, is a home for writers. We have our fully functional writer's desk where you can plan and edit and write your work. We have our Academy page where you can learn all kinds of tips and tricks about making your writing better and your plots and your characters. We have our community and we have personalized author services. But today, I think we're all here to talk about the Start Strong Challenge, which we just kicked off last week. Now, if you haven't gotten involved. What are you thinking? No, I'm just kidding. You can go ahead and you can get involved down below. Start Strong Writing Challenge. Go ahead and do so because if you sign up, you are going to be eligible for some prizes. Yes, we have a grab bag of prizes that we're going to be giving away at the end of the challenge simply for signing up. And of course, in signing up, you get access to the writer's desk so you can submit your work. It's also going to be where we're going to give any sort of updates about the challenge, whatnot, and so forth. So, last week, we told you to write a story. Ultimately, we're going to need a word count of under 1,000 words. And the reason why is because we're going to read all of the finalists here live on Autocrit. I know, very exciting. On YouTube. And we will have you, the studio audience, as it were, vote on the ultimate grand winner of the Start Strong challenge. Now, I know 1,000 words, that's pretty small. You don't have a lot of ability for scope, but keep in mind, we do realize this, right? We understand, and the audience certainly is going to understand as well. So limitations are part of the form. The other thing is we wanted to give you a quick win. We wanted to give you something that is short that you could put as a little notch on your belt, as it were, get started, best foot forward for 2024. Because as we all know, in the creative world, momentum is everything. If you can just get one project out there, well, the next one comes that much easier, and so on and so forth. You're enjoying flambe. Wait, no, that wasn't it. Where is it? Where did the flambe thing go? Oh no, I lost the flambe. There it is. Enjoying flambe, had dinner with friends, and had everyone had to use flambe conversationally. I love it. Of course, flambe is one of our words from the prompt, which we will talk about again. Awesome, Wendy. You've already written 2,000 words for Fiction Forge. Go ahead. Of course, we have people in the Fiction Forge program. It just started last week, where we're tasking our participants to write a whole novel in 60 days. So that's very exciting, and it's just great. It's great to get your year kicked off with these projects, with some successes. It's the best way to start off. All right. So the prompts last week were, of course, given at random based on you. So don't blame me. I didn't make these word lists that we chose at random. This all came from the AutoCrate community, and you came up with some very interesting nouns, objects, very interesting settings, and some interesting verbs. So for the noun, oh, wait, before I get there, we do have a plot twist coming. So the way this is going to work is we are giving out the prompts at random, as we have last week. This week, we're going to discuss a little bit more about the prompts, give you some more time to work on some things. I know some of you say you haven't gone that far yet. That's all right. You got another week. Next week, though, expect a twist, because one of the challenges of the Start Strong Challenge is to write something. Also write something with our prompts. Also write something that is shorter 1,000 words. But the other problem, or the other complication, skill, whatever you want to use, the other aspect that we are working on as writers is nimbleness creatively. And so we thought, as a fun exercise, we would throw in some twists. So we have a twist coming next week and a final twist coming the week after that. I know, twists all over the place, very twisty. But that'll make it fun as we continue. So, somebody was like, "This is where only having 74 words pay off." Yes, you could, of course, decide to just sit on your hands and be like, "All right, Daniel, I'm not going to wait until you reveal everything and just submit at the end." Yeah, but where's the fun in that? And also, the whole point again is creative nimbleness. So it is possible that your twist may cause you to need to rewrite a lot of your story, but it's also possible that it'll just be a minor twist. And even if it makes you have to start over, again, this is part of the artistic nimbleness that we're all looking for in 2024. The second twist is also coming, so keep that in mind. All right, so the object of this story, I already mentioned it last week, but I'll mention it again, is a pair of well worn ballet shoes. Now, we've gotten some questions about this. What do you mean worn? Do you mean that they're on? Do you mean that they are used and potentially like fragile or falling apart or something? It's up to you. Worn, however you want to describe that. That's all right. We're not asking for you to use the pair of worn ballet shoes exactly as written. You just have to include ballet shoes, worn ballet shoes, however it is you want to interpret those words. If you want to get a little creative, that's fine. That's up to you. These are just prompts. The setting is highly specific this time around. Again, these suggestions came from you. I didn't make up these suggestions. Um, the setting is a campsite on the shore of a man made lake that drowned a town and still contains the structures and the graveyard. It's very specific. Again, we do not need you to copy that sentence word for word and put it into your work. That would be very confusing. I do love this setting. I think it's really cool. I think man-made lakes that drown things is fascinating. It's like Big Fish, right? Has one of those. Yeah, it's fascinating. But it's a great setting. So how you incorporate the setting is going to be up to you. If I were writing in this, I would be very interested in including a lot of the setting. But you may decide it's just kind of in the background. Kind of sad you didn't invent the setting. It's okay. You can use the setting. It is yours now. It belongs to the world, particularly the world of AutoCrit, and you can incorporate it in your story. The last thing we're looking for is a verb. This one you should include in the story directly, and that is the verb flambe. Yes. We had some questions about flambe, cooking with fire. Again, there's different ways you can interpret this. Some people are saying, do you have to use it as a verb? No, as long as the word appears. So if you want to have somebody just say flambe and for one random reason, that would count. If you have a flambe sauce, if you have a flambe dance, I don't know. You can decide how you use the word flambe, but the word flambe itself should appear in the story. Okay? And less than 1,000 words. Those are really the two biggest things. And of course, we want some ballet shoes and we want that setting to be part of that story. So I thought with this unusual, can you use a different tense? Yes. Yes, you can. Yes. If you say flambéed, that's okay. I'm not sure if flambeing is actually a correct way of putting it. I'm not that familiar with the word flambe, to be honest. Flambéed, I believe, is correct. A random restaurant sign on the side of the road, perhaps. You can, of course, just do it as a little aside and just get it out of the way. But remember, the audience is, in fact, going to make some judgments on this. They're going to pick the winner. I would imagine the winner might be one that uses flambe a little bit more specifically than just the name, yes, like the name of a pet. That's a little bit more interesting. But I would say they're probably going to look for a usage where you really incorporate it into the story, particularly because, yes, you only have 1,000 words. So we want all of the words to matter. Now, some of you might be a little bit stuck on this. You're like, okay, Daniel, I got nothing. I got all of these ideas and I just don't even know where to get started. So, one thing that you might consider is going into the inspiration studio. Yes, because in the inspiration studio, let me actually shrink down this window a little bit here. In the inspiration studio, you can, of course, use our story builder and you can get some ideas if you were stuck. So, if I were going to be using the story builder in this way, I would go ahead and I would put in the setting, obviously, there in the general geography, a campsite on a shore of a man made lake that drowned a town. I would put as a resource available the object. And I went ahead and I put in general culture and conflicts, flambe as a cooking technique is mentioned just because I wanted to see if it would incorporate it into the story somehow. You have lots of opportunities in terms of how you specifically handle that, but that would be a way of doing it. And then, of course, from there, you could flambeing is a word. Thank you, Sharon. And then from there, you can, of course, use the story builder in order to generate some ideas and maybe fill in these gaps. So I'm just going to start at the very top. I'm curious what kind of story premise it's going to come up with. Now, often when you give it a graveyard, it's going to think of the obvious and it's going to give us something that ends up being supernatural. Just because why else would you incorporate a graveyard unless it's supernatural? Now, of course, that's not the only reason to include a graveyard, but it's going to often pick kind of the obvious choice, the most direct choice. So let's see what it says. In a secluded campsite on the shore of a hauntingly beautiful man made lake, a group of desperate survivors must navigate the submerged remains of an abandoned town to discover its dark secrets and find redemption. As they stumble upon a pair of worn ballet shoes, they soon realize these seemingly insignificant artifacts hold the key to their survival. That's actually pretty cool. I kind of like that idea. I'm not exactly sure how ballet shoes could be the key to survival, but you might find something as simple as that would be enough inspiration. You're off to the races and let's go, right? You don't necessarily need it to build out any further than that. You might be like, I didn't really think of the idea of them navigating and trying to redeem the town, whatever that means. And also that there's some sort of sinister force that ballet shoes are going to be protect me from. Maybe you didn't think of that either, right? So it'd be some fun little piece of information. But let's imagine I wanted to go a little bit further. So I could go down here. I could literally pick the short story beat sheet. So it tries to hone in a little bit in terms of the scope. Often it still likes to be big and grand and you have to scope it back. So what do we have? The sun begins to set down the towering skeletal structures, survivors huddle, worn ballet shoes sit on a log, almost forgotten. Yeah, okay, that's nice. That's a nice striking image. I think it utilizes the setting rather well. So, what is going to be next here? They can't shake the feeling. There's something lurking beneath the water. Fair enough. They use the worn rally shoes as some symbol of hope. That seems a little contrived to figure out how they would do that. The survivors wade through the murky waters. One of them steps on a hidden switch. I don't really like that. Let's see if I can find something better. Hidden switch seems a little strange. A hidden mechanism that causes an ancient bell to toll. That sounds a little bit better. Like an ancient switch sounds like. Why do we even have that lever? Right? I like ancient bell. All right, so it wakens long dormant supernatural forces and races them a race against time. I'm digging this. I'm not sure how the ballet shoes are going to help, but we're going to find out if we can figure this out. They stumble upon a hidden underground chamber where they must solve a series of cryptic puzzles and riddles using the worn ballet shoes as clues. Not sure how that would work. I'm going to try another one. Aha! An hidden underground theater where they must stage a captivating ballet performance to appease vengeful spirits. I like that. That's a lot more fun. And so we have to do theater to appease the to appease the demons. Yeah, this could be a lot of fun. I rather enjoy this premise here. Especially because like what does that say about the town and the submerging, and then you maybe have the whole thing being some sort of parable about like the death of art and what does the water represent. Anyway, I'm getting kind of philosophical and whatever you could say overly analytical, but it's a lot of fun. All right, villains add pressure. What do we have? They unknowingly awaken ancient cult, sure, clad in tattered ballet costumes and wielding eerie dance moves as weapons. I am so somebody needs to write this story because like I'm gonna see this story now. I'm loving it. Um, I love the idea of dance moves as weapons. That's fantastic. One of the survivors is captured by the vengeful cult members, leaving the rest of the group devastated on the brink of despair. And then they harness the power of dance and sacrifice everything they have to overcome the vengeful cult, unleashing a wave of light that banishes the darkness. Yeah, that's probably a little bit much for sorry, I'm gonna need to scroll down. That's probably a bit much for 1,000 words, but that's a cool story, and maybe you could take elements of it. But that sort of story is exactly the kind of fun that I would be looking for. Stop giving you ideas. Your to be written list is already longer than the state of Texas. I know, I know. Yes, there is an underwater ballet in Weeki Wachee in Florida. I've been there and I've seen the mermaids, and yes, they do a really cool underwater ballet, and it's lots of fun for sure. It is a lot for a 1,000-word story. Keep in mind, the story builder is designed to build a whole story, and we're thinking about 1,000 words. It's really more of a scene than a story a lot of the time. I mean, it should have a beginning and a middle, ending a lot of the time, although you can make a more open-ended 1,000-word piece where you don't really resolve. You just kind of let the audience decide what happens next. Um, but yes, it is going to be a bigger scope. However, that doesn't mean I can't get some great ideas from this, even if I'm going to have to pull it back a little bit, right? Make it a little bit more simplistic. For example, I could decide I jump all the way to the very end where it is people engaged in some sort of dance for their lives, and that's all it is. And you'd have to throw in a fair amount of exposition just to set it up. But you can figure it out. You can figure out how much the audience can know versus have to surmise, how much of it remains mysterious, and et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of opportunities there. All right, so let me go back because I actually made some others before I came here on live. And one thing I wanted to specifically do because I suspected that this would happen when you have a graveyard is I specifically wanted a non supernatural story. So I went ahead and just put that in my story premise that it's not supernatural. So that way it wouldn't make a supernatural story. So let's take a look. This is a romance one because I went ahead and did a romance. So I have Ava, a talented but disillusioned ballet dancer, finds solace in exploring the remnants of the sunken town. She discovers an old pair of ballet shoes. Her passion for dance is reignited. And then she explores the sunken town and she stumbles upon a hidden underground dance studio. A mysterious stranger watches her. She spends more time. They share passion for dance. Obviously, this would be maybe as far as you would possibly go in a 1,000-word piece, maybe not even that far, but it keeps going. But, that's interesting. The idea of it's kind of an obvious choice, but maybe you didn't think about it. Somebody who is not very interested or is disillusioned about being interested in ballet ends up finding some ballet shoes and therefore gets reinvigorated in terms of their idea behind it. Have I ever been kicked in the face by a ballerina? I'm not going to answer that question. I can neither I can neither confirm nor deny if that's ever taken place. All right. So let's see what else I have here. So I have a secluded campsite. A group of desperate survivors must navigate the submerged remains of an abandoned town. Oh wait, this was the one I was looking at already. Sorry. I was like, that seems awfully familiar. Let's go down to this one. So this one I also said a non-supernatural story. So what do I have this time around? As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the deserted town and its submerged structures, a lone figure stood on the shore of the man-made lake. They held a pair of worn ballet shoes in their hands, contemplating the haunting beauty. The figure, named Lily, had returned to the campsite after years of absence. She hoped that by confronting her painful past and unraveling the mysteries of the drowned town, she could finally find closure and redemption for a tragedy haunted her for so long. As she walked along the submerged streets of the drowned town, she stumbled upon an old wooden signpost that bore her name, sending a shiver down her spine and igniting a burning curiosity to uncover the truth. Lily, determined to unlock the secrets of her past, embarks on a scavenger hunt following clues left behind by a mysterious figure. Each clue leads to a different submerged structure where she must use resourcefulness and knowledge of flambe cooking techniques to overcome challenges. Well, wait a minute. That was kind of random. I would love figuring out that's one of those things I would love to figure out how it expects that I'm going to use the knowledge of flambe cooking techniques to overcome challenges, but I'm all for it if you can make that work. Sure. As Lily delves deeper into the secrets of the drowned town, she unknowingly attracts the attention of a group of corrupt developers who are determined to keep their own dark agenda hidden. Okay, fair enough. And let's move a little bit further. She is ambushed. You destroy all evidence, makes her feel defeated, and she outsmarts them. And then she brings justice to the drowned town at last. Fair enough. I like the idea that people often are going to try to bring kind of a sense of justice to the town. It gives a personification to the town. And when you have that kind of rich setting, it's like a town that was drowned. It's like very kind of violent. Yeah, it does really lend itself well to being something that the town itself is somewhat, like I said, somewhat personified, is maybe a character in of itself. There is some secret about the town to discover that redeems the town. I really like that idea. I hope I see some of that in some of your entries, because I think that's a really powerful way of handling that prompt. So anyway, those are some suggestions just to kind of help you go through. I know some people are like, I don't know what to do with these prompts. You can see how the story builder did it, right? But when I take a look at prompts like this, often what I'm looking for are, what's attractive about it to me. A lot of people said, wow, that setting, that's really, really attractive. But you kind of need to ask yourself a little bit deeper. And yes, that does mean a little bit of, you could say, armchair psychology on yourself. But you kind of ask yourself, what is it about that that's interesting? Is it the fact that, a thing is lost in time? Is it the drama of people's homes getting, uh, you know, again, kind of violently assaulted? Like, what is it about that sort of situation that appealed to you? Is it something visually? Is it just the visuals of these buildings under the water, right? Because you don't want to neglect that. Whatever you're attracted to should be part of your work. So you kind of want to initially start out with sort of that brainstorming. It's like, well, what do I like about this? Or even something like ballet shoes. What do ballet shoes mean to you? Right? What are different ways you could use them? You may want to brainstorm kind of all the different purposes of that. Something like flambe. What does that word mean to you? What are the different ways that somebody might use flambe cooking techniques? Or maybe you would just simply use the word. Somebody mentioned a pet. Fair enough. But what does that mean? Why would they name the pet that? Let's get a little bit deeper, right? I often like to go as deep as I can, particularly when I'm developing, because then by the time I get to writing, I really have a sense of what I'm doing, and it's going to be grounded a lot more. When is the plot twist revealed? Next week. Next week. This week is not a plot twist. Nope. We're just talking shop this week. So do not panic about plot twists this week. We're going to reveal them next week. All right. Tonight we are going to be discussing fantasy slash sci-fi, but we're also going to be discussing a lot more because we are expanding story reading 5000. A lot of people loved that, where I go through some interestingly written book. I'll say that. Books in the back corner of Amazon that are not selling very well, and we analyze perhaps why they're not selling very well. Sometimes it's obvious, but it's interesting, and you learn a lot, and we have some fun. Tonight, Though it's open season, we're gonna look at all different kinds of genres, including some genres that maybe you didn't even know existed. I know, it's gonna be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Join us tonight. You can find the link on AutoCrit, on the hub, 7 p.m. Don't miss it. Tomorrow, we have the horror club, and we have a very special guest in the horror club, Adam Millard, who is going to be discussing mixing horror and humor. So that's something that can be difficult to do without undermining the drama, undermining the fear factor, but when done properly, it actually enhances both. And Gareth will be there, and Adam Millard will be there, and they'll be having a fantastic discussion. Again, you can find that inside the Autocrit community. We have recently expanded our accountability club. Yes, the accountability club is now Mondays at 11 a.m. and Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern. So I beckon you to join us and kick off your week. We have kind of both ends of the day, which should help people in different time zones. Obviously, we still haven't accommodated every time zone, but we're doing our best, right? And Catherine is on hand there to kick things off and keep us rolling for the week. I have a mystery club. You can join our force of agents here. Very anonymous. Um, on Monday, we will be discussing settings in mystery. Of course, a lot of people really loved the setting for our Start Strong challenge. Settings can just enhance a work on multiple levels, and mystery is one where settings can sometimes kind of fall by the wayside. We often can end up rather boring or obvious about their settings, and there's a lot of potential, even in a genre like mystery that often is not, um, often is not as you could say creative or imaginative in terms of the setting as Five Fantasy. I think that's pretty fair to say. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be in there at all. Does the mystery club provide the dark glasses, or is it bring your own? I don't know. For those of you who want to dive into plotting, Gareth is going to be hosting the Plotcraft workshop, so you can join us here. So yes, this is actually an opportunity to hear some brilliant insights by Gareth, not in the horror genre specifically. So I know that we've had people say that they're like, "Wow, Gareth is so brilliant," and generally all he talks about is horror. Can he talk about other stuff? And of course he can. And he has, you can go back in the archives, and he used to be on here more often on our live streams and sharing a lot of brilliant wisdom there. So, yes, he is well versed in story doctoring and developmental editing and story development and all of those things in all genres. And so it's great to have him back discussing plots, and again, this would be something for anybody, not just those who are building a horror story. All right. Well, that is our session for today. Before I close things up, though, I just wanted to ask if anybody has any questions about the Start Strong Challenge. Going to go rapidly through here. Ta-da. Yes, the Start Strong Challenge. Does anybody have any questions? Because if you do, let me know. Go ahead and sign up below. It is a free challenge to join. You still may join it. We haven't given out the twist yet, so you got another week to build up your story, write those 1,000 words. Next week, we're going to be revealing a twist. And then the week after that, we're going to be revealing another twist. And then the following Sunday is going to be when you need to submit. That will be the 28th at 11:59 p.m. So you'll have a little bit of time after the final twist. But don't worry, the final twist is not going to be too crazy. Okay? It should not require an entire rewrite of your whole thing. The second one, the first one might be a little painful, we'll find out. But the second one is that's more of a well, maybe we should call it a tweak. It's just a little it is a twist, but it's It's not as twisty of a twist. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the correct nomenclature is for a less twisty twist, a minor twist. How about that? All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me again. Oh, and I do want to say, if any of you are AutoCrypt Pro members, we have a office hours session every week at 2 o'clock on Tuesdays. Pretty much follows right after this, and that's an opportunity for you to just ask us anything. Right? Ask us anything about the writer's desk. Ask us anything about anything that's going on in AutoCrit. What sort of features that you would like to see from us. We really like to make ourselves available for all of our AutoCrit Pro members. So we'll maybe see you there as well. Again, all of these events you can find on the AutoCrit homepage on the hub. But thank you very much for joining me yet again. If you haven't, you can like and subscribe to this channel. You'll continue to get updates about these challenges. I'm really looking forward to the week to the twist next week. Gonna be fun and exciting. And I'm really looking forward to reading all of your finalist entries, all the entries that make it to the end in a few weeks. It's always a lot of fun. So we'll see you around. Bye, everybody. You have a wonderful day.